So today we're finishing up. I know I said we were finished with the pig processing, but still got one more step to do. And that is rendering the fat. We were just kind of over it last week or whenever that was. So here's the bucket full of fat that we had. We actually probably had 2 of those, but we got a little bit, again, over it, lazy, and let the other stuff probably get too hot. I don't know, maybe it would have been salvageable, but this has been in the freezer. I did get it out last night. Froze just enough where it makes cutting it into these strips pretty easy. It could be a little bit more frozen, but so I was cutting the fat strips up just small enough to shoot it through this grinder. And the thought here is to just get it into as small pieces as possible so that it melts a little more quickly. Gonna get this a good base of fat on the bottom. Go ahead and get that all melted down, and then we can start putting more in there, but low and slow. Okay, so I got that over there. The first little, just to get enough on the bottom of the pan so that this doesn't burn. If you overcook, and again, I'm not an expert, this is only the second or third time I've ever done this, but if you get that pork fat too hot too quick, it will scald it, and then your lard's gonna not be great. So try not to get ahead of ourselves too much here. All right, so this is what we got going on. You can see that it's cooked down a lot. I'm gonna let it cook down just a couple minutes more just to see if some of those little pieces will turn to liquid so that I have just a really good base there of just pure liquid, so we can start adding a little bit more and turn up the heat a little bit. So part of the love of homesteading, and especially when I've not done this all my life, or did I grow up doing this? So one of the cool things about it is I'm always learning. I love that. And I'm not even through not even through this yet, and already know things that I will do differently for next time. And one of those is separating out your leaf lard from like the rest of your fat. And again, this is just all stuff that I've learned through watching other people's YouTube videos, which is the biggest reason that we're doing this, because we know kind of everybody has a different vibe, and this is just some things that we know and have noticed that ways of living that a lot of people aren't doing anymore, and that we really love and want to pass on. So we know we're not the experts, but we're learning. And so we learn by mistakes a lot of times, and you know, we learn by watching others. And so that's a huge part of why we're putting this out there for the world, because I can tell you it's a whole lot easier not to. All right, I just added a bunch more and turned up the heat just a little bit. This whole bowl was full, so we'll work on that. Crank up the heat just a little. Why not too much? But like Charlie and I say, we know that we'll learn something from this, and as we've learned a lot from other people's YouTube videos, and if we can be helpful to anybody in their journey, then that's all we're looking for. You know, this is a way of passing on those traditions that the old timers You know, we used to do it by storytelling or, you know, going and we watch True Grit, Appalachian Ways, Megan and Andy, and actually I grew up in the town where they live, and so, you know, they still get together and kill hogs with the whole community, but that's few and far between these days. And so the opportunity to pass on things like that and to get to watch, a lot of it's gone to technological ways, which is great, because if not, then those things and those skills that we're passing on through YouTube nowadays might die. So anyway, that was a bit of a rant to say that next time I will be separating out the leaf lard from the regular lard. I think I already put the leaf lard in my pot, but apparently your leaf lard is a much better product for things like baking. It's a better quality. So your leaf lard is the fat that's around the organs. And so it looks different. I think this is, here, I'll show you a piece. Like that is leaf lard. And this is not. So this is from the outer, probably the back, that we trimmed off, and see how it just looks different. So I did not separate it out this time. So it's just all going into one pot, maybe two. I might have enough for two. But apparently it is a much better product for baking. And so something I've already learned to do a bit differently next time. I think we got the last. It's gonna be close, but I think we can get the last bowl in there. So this is the last of it. I wasn't sure if I'd have two pots or not. It's looking just like one. But you can see, I mean, everything is coming together nicely. I've already got a lot of liquid, but there's still a lot of pieces in there. So we're just gonna get the rest of this fat in there. Get that kind of dispersed. This stuff is sticky icky. Hopefully it will help with my winter hands. You know how your hands get all dry and cracked in the winter? Well, I think there might be something to this. Okay, so that's all of it in one pot. I think I am gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. Still got several chunks in there, try to get them broken up. But so far, I don't know how long this has been going, maybe an hour. And pretty happy about where it's at right now. We've processed a lot more pigs than I've ever rendered fat from. And this is another thing I've learned, is just trying to do things as it comes and not forcing it. So just as we've gotten to know the process a little bit better and trying to become more self-sufficient and less wasteful, especially because we do value so much, not only the animals' lives, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into raising them. And so we want to, you know, make the most of everything that we get from them. And for years, we've either left fat on and, you know, just ate what we wanted to, like when we pulled out a pork chop, or when we would trim fat, we would throw it away. Because I'll be honest, some of this stuff looks pretty intimidating. And like for me, I just didn't really know where I would use the lard. So now I can use it I know I can use it. Could have been using it all along, but as we progressed with our knowledge and things like that, you know, I'm going to use it for most of my cooking oil. Most of the time when I am cooking, I can use lard. Sometimes I do keep on hand a little bit of coconut oil and a little bit of olive oil, but 90% of the time I can use lard. We're rolling along. This is starting to look good. It's still on the same heat that it has been, but it's boiling less. So we're getting a little further done. You can see that the bubbles mean that there's still water in it. And since we're making lard that's going in jars, that's gonna be on a shelf, we want all of that water to come out so that it doesn't create mold. So we keep letting this go. Also, you can see the little chunks of Crispies are not quite crispy yet, so they're still looking like little fat chunks, and we want those to start to brown up. So we continue to wait. Also, I've run into a little problem. Don't know how to handle quite yet. So I got my jars all clean. So I'm gonna be putting these in quart jars. I'm in our outdoor type kitchen. It's not outdoors, it's indoors, but we don't have heat in here. And so it's cold, it's still cold, which is fine. But my problem is going to be how to get my jars warm, because right now they're cold because they're just sitting in this room temperature, which is cold. And I gotta heat them up somehow. Usually when I'm in the house or if I'm doing something else, I can just put hot water in them or heat them up on the stove. But since we're actually trying to avoid any type of water, I'm gonna try to get these really good and dried out here. That's not really gonna be an option. So I think what I'm gonna do is fill this pot up with the least amount of water as I can, and still have some in there so I can heat it up, because I know if I put too much in, my jars are gonna float, and that's not gonna be good. So I want them to be upright. So I think I'm gonna try that, because we all know what's gonna happen if my jars are too cold and that is too hot. I'm gonna have a mess because my jars are gonna crack. So I gotta figure that out. Yeah. 40 minutes later, here we are. Hopefully you can tell that the boil has started to slow even further, but we still got all of these little bubbles. So we're getting there. I think we are done. You can see a little bit of bubbles. I've actually gotten off that much cracklings. Yikes. Let's try to do this without getting hurt. So I have had my jars in this warm water, but I'm gonna see with the first one if it cracks or not, because I'm a little nervous. Okay, let's try. Got my paper towel, my funnel. My grandma's old dipper. How cool is that? All right, here's the moment of truth. Oh, please don't crack. Okay, it's filtering through the paper towel. I did my best to get all the chunks out, but I might actually go get a coffee filter. It's probably a little finer. I think I'm gonna go get a coffee filter. Maybe not. Are you going outside with it, or where are you going?
I'm going right here.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Yep.
I think it went in that heater.
Oh gosh.
That's smoke. I saw cracklings. You gonna save them for cornbread?
Cannot pick that up with my left hand. Look how pretty that is. Well, here we are, all set and jarred. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 quarts of beautiful lard. So this is what it looks like now. Obviously it's still hot. I have heard some of my jar seal, which is awesome. And then I will show you in the morning what it looks like when it cools. So I did already box it up to get out of my way this morning, but look how pretty my lard turned out. Ended up with 12 quarts. Gotta take it in the house, but isn't that pretty? And they all sealed, even though we didn't can them. Oh, shoot. That one didn't. So I'll put that one in the fridge. I'll use it first. All the rest of them did though. So gorgeous. Well, what do you think?
See them cracklings in it? That's the only way I'm gonna eat cornbread. Got that cracklings in it.
I did it in a cast iron and it did, yeah, just got a little bit stuck, but
look in there.
Looks good.
Them cracklings.
And we got a pot of pintos to go with it.